Boy, the recent Bright and Darkenment is excellent. Take a listen if you haven't already. It's
Is that a blue wave out here?
Who are the traditionalists? What is traditionalism? Check it out.
Next one is going to be weird as almost unimaginably weird. Started looking into Nick Land, the Bright and Darkenment guy, the guy who actually kind of invented the term and wrote the book.
Right.
He claims to be possessed by demons. I thought that would be a good starting off point.
Wow.
Boy, you thought the communists were bad, huh?
Hey, welcome to A Bold and Distant Future. We are a weekly podcast that looks at the news so you don't have to. You are welcome. And we have a rotating group of voices that drop in and keep this channel running. Yay! And I just wanted to say on the air here that we have a series running called The Bright and Darkenment, and I highly recommend it in the most recent episode. What is Traditionalism? I think is a stellar podcast, so check it out, everyone. And the barbarians are at the gate. We're at the gate. I thought I told you guys to hold back a minute. Don't go in yet.
Stay back and stay ready.
Yeah, stand back and stand by. That's not how we work. Hey, this happened in the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump received a participation trophy. Somebody brilliantly made a big trophy and stuck it there.
Participation.
And I have a close-up of the reading on it, so we can take a look at it. It's kind of funny. Just wonder who's doing this, and God bless them for doing this stuff, you know?
Yeah, it reminds me of the costumes against ice in Portland. These grand gestures that speak comically and dramatically to
Right.
the moment.
The placement is a little odd, though. I think it should be closer to the reflection
Yeah.
pool.
Because
Yeah,
the gold
might
would
be.
pick up nicely in the water.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Well, here it is. Iran War Participation Trophy. We hereby award President Donald J. Trump this participation trophy for his enthusiastic involvement in the Iran War. While some concern themselves with military strategy, diplomacy, or measurable outcomes, President Trump demonstrated the courage to participate regardless of the final score. As the recipient of this prestigious award, President Trump joins the ranks of children everywhere who received recognition for simply showing up. We join you in celebrating this remarkable achievement.
That's lovely.
The Secret Handshake Prize Committee. I love it. And I love the little collection of smaller trophies that have begun to gather around the base of it.
All right, these will be like little padlocks on gates and fences and signifying their love. Yeah, I love it. Woo!
And it's all gold, too, so that really works.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, this is another segment of Roy Recommends, and I watched this documentary on PBS. It was on their, what is their series? Independent Lens, I think it might be called. And it's a documentary called Flood about a woman who's a filmmaker who grew up in a very strict, I think, evangelical household, and then went off to college and had her eyes opened by science and got into paleontology, and looks for dinosaur bones, and goes back to interview her father. It's a really amazing documentary, and it just underscores the bubbles that we live in and the religious, I don't know how these people live in these bubbles. These are religious and media bubbles.
I think you just explained it. You live in bubbles.
And it's amazing, but it's
Hermetically sealed bubbles. Nothing from the outside can get in.
I did listen to an interesting podcast yesterday, about 25 minutes long, on, it was either PBS or NPR, but talking about in evangelical, there is a growing number of evangelicals who are questioning what's going on in the White House. And I think that's an interesting development, considering where they came from.
It's been an entire decade, but at least they're, taking a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took them long enough. Where have they been? What I wonder what their main concerns are. I mean, what are they pointing to? The greed?
Indeed, that was part of it. They were pointing to that and the fact that there's wars being started that are not taking us anywhere, but they're basically screwing over the American people. And there's still a healthy percentage of them that back this guy without taking a look at anything. But the fact that there is a growing contingent that feel that this is not going in the direction they want, or especially that it's not going in the direction that Jesus would have wanted, they just don't, they're beginning to think that it's not the right direction. And I think that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
You didn't mention the files. I have to think that plays a role.
Probably. Or the murder of these two more innocent human beings were killed in their cars this last week, in their own neighborhoods, on their way to work, one with a child in their car with them. None of the shooters are being prosecuted or questioned, or are they being investigated? One was Salgado Araujo, 52 years old, shot in Houston, Texas, and that's him, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. And the other fellow was in Maine, a 25-year-old young man with his daughter in the car was shot.
3-year-old daughter.
Was she 3 years old?
I believe so, yeah.
It's
Are
insane.
states not able to initiate their own investigation?
I think they are, and I think Houston is starting to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
I just read that this
Minnesota
morning.
did, and they busted a guy.
Yeah.
These are just like, they think they might have a guy they're looking for, kind of,
Just reading the headline.
Yeah, he has black hair and slightly darker skin than others do. Yeah, what is that?
What
That's not how
I find incredible is how much they lie.
Yeah.
There's that.
Blatant,
But-
easily proven, slaughter of American civilians by what is essentially, federalized troops. ICE is basically a militia.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not illegal for law enforcement to lie to get a suspect to reveal themselves. It's not if it's not illegal for them to do that, then it can't be illegal for them to lie about anything, can it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we get into the whole area of perjury. Of course, it's not on trial, so you can't really apply it directly, but they're making statements that will not hold up, can't hold up. There's too much evidence against them. I find that very strange.
Yeah, I love what Pritzker says, get your cameras out, record this because we're going to come after you later.
Yeah, we have the evidence. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
footage nowadays. But there's not much public outrage, which is troubling.
Well, it's not much public outrage being reported.
Oh, there you go.
I think that's
true.
yeah.
And then Trump said, I should not give up traffic stops, right in the wake of the shootings. Crazy. It's scary enough to be pulled over by a cop with lights and, badges and stuff. But when a strange vehicle pulls you over and then these masked men point guns at you as they walk up to your vehicle, and you're a vulnerable person already, perhaps in the country, without perfect paperwork.
I'm beginning to rethink my stance on the Second Amendment.
How so?
Well, I've been sort of ambivalent about it, and I'm becoming less ambivalent. If there's a possibility that the person you're pulling over is armed, does that engender a certain level of respect as opposed to shooting somebody in front of his 3-year-old daughter? I'm just throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not advocating,
I
but
think
I'm beginning to see maybe there's a little softening here.
I think gun sales are on the rise and have been for a while. I used to see a line at the gun shop down the street,
Good God.
every day. Drive by, there's like 20 people in line.
Well, one thing I like to tell people about the difference between Minnesota and California. In California, you can get into long arguments about gun control, and then people ask, well, are you for or against, and why are you, against gun control, and so on and so forth. Minnesota, the first question, relevant question I was asked is, do you have your open carry license yet?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the Mike Johnson piece.
that that's not who we are as Americans. The reason we are the greatest nation in the history of the world, the most free, most successful, most powerful, most benevolent, you hear me say it all the time, the reason that we are the greatest nation is because we were built on an entirely different and opposing set of values. Congress put In God We Trust above the rostrum because they wanted to remind everybody who would ever serve in this body in Congress that there is a huge distinction between us and the Soviets' philosophy. Communism, Marxism, socialism, all this begins with the premise that there is no God. It's a totally different philosophy. In our declaration that we just celebrated, 250 years on July 4th, the nation's creed, as you hear me talk about all the time, the second paragraph, we hold these truths to be self-evident and all men are created equal. Our rights come from our Creator God. They do not come from the government. The communists believe the opposite. They believe that the government is, the state is God. The state is the one that gives you all your rights. And you know what? The state can also take those rights away. And that's exactly what happens. It's inevitable. Communism and this philosophy has led to the murder of tens of millions of innocent people in the 20th century alone.
I kind of
It
thought
is a
communism
nightmare.
was
It
premised
is a
on the
trail
idea that
to
all men are
certain
created
death,
equal.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why
Yeah.
we're speaking in such stark terms, because we need America to wake up. We're not even, look, 35 years ago, Republicans and Democrats in Congress, when I was coming up in, the Reagan years, they were fighting communism on a distant shore. Now it's here. But in Congress, they all agreed on that. They obviously knew that we had to fight communism. And so what they were doing here for domestic policy, that was foreign policy. Domestic policy, they were arguing over, marginal tax rates and the shades of regulation and how large the government should be. There wasn't a huge difference, a chasm between the two parties. Those days are gone. Right now, domestically, we are arguing, we are debating, we are fighting. The election will be over whether we're going to maintain our freedom in a constitutional republic, the greatest experiment in self-governance in the history of the world, the longest surviving constitution on the planet, the nation that everybody wants to emulate,
Democrats.
and everybody wants to come here. We have to seal our borders so they won't flood over them. We're the only nation in the world that has that distinction. We're the last great superpower. We are the greatest nation in the history of the world. We are fighting right now in Congress over whether we're going to maintain our status as a constitutional republic, or we're going to trade that in, dismantle the foundations, and go down this dark road of death to communism. That is the question on the ballot this fall. Now, DSA published their platform. I hope you're all covering. I hope you're writing in depth about their platform. I read it out at an event a few weeks ago, and they made an ad mocking me reading their platform. Now, they didn't put the clips with the worst parts of it. Representative Jimenez just told you, Carlos told you that, well, of course they want to pack the Supreme Court, and they want a unicameral legislature. They want the House to run everything, abolish the Senate.
Who's packed the
Because
court
they believe
already?
the House
Come
will be
on.
run by Marxists, communists. They'll be able to run the table on everything. They want to remove the president. What they also want to do is abolish all borders. They don't want any borders. They want mass amnesty granted to anyone who can come onto our shores without exception, even for terrorists and hardened dangerous criminals. Okay? They don't want prisons. It's in their platform. They want to remove the carceral state, they said. No prisons. They don't want to fund the police. This is not a game. Everybody needs to understand. These crazy little mini Mamdanis who are popping up all around the country, they are a danger to you and your family. This is not a game. If they promise you free
Minions.
stuff, there is far more beneath those promises that even some of these people do not understand themselves.
Wow.
And so we are here as the Republican Party to stand on the founding principles of the greatest nation in the history of the world. It is our duty to do that. And we're doing it on behalf of all of you, even the journalists who don't agree with our policies all the time. You better agree on these principles, because it's what keeps you free. By the way, it's what keeps the press free, okay? This is essential for your well-being.
The U.S. press.
And your family. This is not a game.
kinda
This is
wonder
not
if
our
that
father's Democrat Party. This is not. We're not
considering
arguing
someone
over marginal
innocent
tax
until
rates
proven
anymore.
guilty, because
we're arguing over
that's
whether or
not
not freedom is
happening
going
in
to
our
survive.
country right now very much, is it?
And that's why we're so serious about this. Look, I'm a happy warrior, man. I like to get up and have fun, but this is not a fun time. We're in a war. We're in a philosophical war to save the greatest nation in the history of the world. And we take it very seriously.
Wow.
I want to be a mini Mondami. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I love
Cartoon.
the posture of Trump here, rather than standing alongside. We all know what this represents. Yeah. Wow.
What does it represent?
Fornication, dude.
Well, he's picking a pocket at the same time, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't? Yeah. Maybe the tie is doing the work, I imagine.
There's a
Yeah, that's-
long tie.
Yeah.
Compensation again.
Yeah.
But it's a war. What do we think? I mean, was that heavy enough? That was a pretty strong. I didn't even show it all. There's like another 10 minutes that I cut out. But
Yeah.
I think we got the drift.
Yeah. So falsely dramatic and so wrong, so dumbly interpretive of reality.
I grew up with that kind of bullshit. That was my dinner table with my stepfather ranting.
Wow.
Yeah, this is going to be the storyline they're going to pump up until November.
Mhm.
If you're a Democrat, you're a communist.
Exactly.
That's anti-American.
That's
Why don't
exactly
you go
it.
back to Russia?
If you're a Democrat, you're not a patriot. If you're a Democrat, you're anti-American. You're anti-police. I mean, listen to the storyline. There, if you're a Democrat, you're ready to create chaos in our country.
Hmm. And they stole the term. They're going to defund. They're not. Yeah, he said defund the police. Wow.
Yeah, they're going to pull out all stops. It's going to get worse. It's going to get
Yep.
a lot worse.
well, on the heels of the last episode of the Brighton Darkenment, it makes me think that we're headed for some disastrous event with a lone wolf wacko, you know.
Hmm.
Hey, Lindsey Graham died. Shall we take a moment of silence?
No, in fact, not. I
Why
love
don't we
that
just do a
you.
blue wave right here?
Very good. Yeah. Just the mouthpiece for Trump.
Yeah, I don't celebrate anybody's death because,
No.
No.
when you're dead, that's it. You can't,
Mhm.
rethink
Is that
your
a blue wave
positions.
again?
Yeah, it's a blue wave again. But nonetheless, I think the Earth will continue rotating just fine without him.
Hmm. I love how his sister was appointed in his role. With what qualification or what ability other
Well,
than to support
they-
the president's mandate?
They went out of their way to explain how it's happened numerous times.
The memes on this are will keep you up laughing at night. They're so interesting, so derivative, but all uniquely creative in different ways. So,
Crazy.
oh,
He's in a hospital bed wearing jeans.
yeah, in a red shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, this is...
Oh, red, white, and blue. I didn't really notice that before.
Oh, right. And he's reading the paper.
Well, I
Or
think
he's
the
holding
idea
it.
is he's
Yep.
trying to demonstrate that that's the day, right? You use the newspaper to confirm that this is the day your picture was taken.
like a kidnapping hostage, you know, where they have them photographed with the newspaper.
Yeah.
Exactly.
However,
Yep.
they did go out of their way again to explain all the reasons it's not an AI image.
Hmm.
I've heard some pretty compelling evidence that it is not AI as well, but I'm not sure. But this is the newspaper that he's holding in his hand. It was the recent edition.
Well, it may be artificial, but is it intelligence?
Yeah.
Artificial, no intelligence, or very little. But is this whole thing symbolic of the aging and failing and ill Republican Party? Having these,
Yeah.
these top guys die and
You're
go
right,
missing
yeah.
in the hospital. It's sort of... It doesn't really project vim and vigor.
Yeah. Exactly. Propped up by lies and fake images and
I think maybe they all need testosterone therapy and possibly creatine to pump up their workout at the gym so that they can project a more virile image.
Yeah, if they're going to impose that on the military, maybe it should be across the board. The
Mhm.
entire government, everybody in government, regardless of gender, should get testosterone shots.
That's right. They should be at the peak of their lethality.
Exactly.
Yeah, if not a military lethality, it's lethality of their decision making.
A warrior nation.
Yeah,
There you go.
a warrior nation of clerks. And,
No thoughtfulness, no reflection, no...
Yep.
Well, this happened in Utah. It seems like a back and forth thing that Trump originally...
It's Utah and Arizona because Grand Staircase, being the largest open area in the United States, was shrunk, as you know, by 90%. And that goes across a huge swath of the Southwest, from Arizona up into Utah and across. It's massive. Not anymore, according to Trump, but it's already going to court. Native Americans are already taking this decision to court.
Yeah, some of that is sacred land, isn't it?
Yeah, Bears Ears is definitely part of the Native American sacred space. I'm sure Grand Staircase has a number of areas that are like that too.
Huh.
Not to mention just the treasures of the landscape that's there.
Hmm.
I put some pictures at the end, but I wanted to put some maps in to sort of show where it lands. There's 2 areas, I guess, 2 different places.
Well, this Grand Staircase map is the last one. There's one more that shows it, and it's much smaller than that. Because he did the same thing in his first term, and Biden put it back. And
Right.
I believe this is the 2016 map for Grand Staircase. I don't know what Bears Ears was, but that hasn't been shrunk by 90%. And I know that is what it's been shrunk by now. It went from 1.37 million acres to 181,000 or something like that, which is 10% of what it was, basically.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus is right. And you know the whole thing is about who can he sell mining rights to and how much can he get for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, here's the snippet from the Salt Lake newspaper. The president said his proclamations would give Utah residents more ability to use the land, but locals here say that the reasons for shrinking the monuments don't hold up, and that the land has never been more accessible to the public than it has been with its national monument designation. The only difference for this expansive wilderness after Monday's orders, say lawyers and locals involved in the fight to protect the area, is that the land is open to leases for mineral and energy extraction.
End of story.
Right.
Money,
Exactly.
money, money, money.
So I'm going to repeat my question that I posted on our thread, and that is, what is the LDS reaction to this?
That's a good question, but I can't really say because I don't keep up on what they're about. Though I was
Somebody here
I
know
was in
anybody
Salt
that's
Lake
in the
for a
LDS?
very brief moment.
I think amongst LDS circles, people are very apolitical. They don't share their political beliefs. I don't think you'll hear it from, the head bishop of the church or anything like that. You won't hear
Well,
political
this is their home
rhetoric.
turf.
It is
Yeah.
home
Just saying.
turf. And the thing is, people that live in the area because of the many of them, because of the access to the incredible natural areas that are out there. There are a myriad of wonderful natural areas out there for them.
Utah can be stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
And I would expect that residents of Utah, regardless of their particular affiliation, would rise up as one to fight this.
Yeah, I agree. That is probably, except for the people that want the guys that have the money that want to extract,
They're probably not in Utah.
They're probably not in Utah.
Well, Utah has been bringing in lots of tech companies outside of Salt Lake. A lot of big companies are there along the road. I think that's changing the political leaning of the environment there, Salt Lake is much more liberal and always has big protests and things, no kings marches and that kind of thing. But when you go further out, it's kind of same old, very conservative Trump country,
Yes and no.
Yeah, I was in Provo for 10 days or so getting my, when I was getting certified to become a dive instructor. And there's a lot of, I won't say liberalism, but there are a lot of people with more liberal ideas from what I could tell.
My understanding, the one thing that separated Utah from the rest of the red states was the stance on immigration.
Hmm.
LDS is kind of pro-immigration. It's a very global phenomenon, and Temple Square is right smack there in the middle of Salt Lake, and they expect immigrants.
Yeah.
Well, all the missionaries
exactly.
that go
It's a
off,
missionary faith.
they go overseas and their eyes get opened up a little bit, I think.
Well, don't forget that they don't always just go overseas. Sometimes they come to California.
Well, that's true. That's like
You've
overseas.
You've had the boys in the white shirt knocking on your door, haven't you?
Right.
I used to take moments to sit down and talk to them to see if I could get into their brain about what they're trying to do.
Great movie along those lines is Orgasmo, if you haven't watched it.
Haven't watched it.
It's Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
I don't know that one. Orgasmo.
Orgasmo. It's about a Mormon missionary who somehow or other gets pulled into performing in pornographic movies. It's hilarious.
In California?
In L.A.
Oh, here it is. 1 hour and 34 minutes. That's quite the costume. I'll have to save that for later on today.
But that's a Scooter recommends, everyone. Scooter recommends that one, not Roy.
Yep, another Scooter recommendation.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today to Bold and Distant Future. Please like and subscribe. Visit our Instagram channel. Send us a message and see what's going on. A few episodes back, we had about 250 views, which always shocks me. But I think we're back to our normal 10 views, if we're lucky.
You know what, though, guys? Also, take the time to write your congressman and tell them to keep their hands off Bears Ears and Grand Staircase.
Yeah, good point.
Good
Yep.
idea. Good
Let's
idea.
do that.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thank you for being here, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
All right.
Adios,
Enjoy your
amigos.
week,
All right.
guys.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.